What are you saying, YouTube? Sorry it's been a while. I've had some difficulties with a couple of cameras recently. I'm going to be tackling another issue today that I get asked all the time, and that's car insurance. How to get cheaper car insurance as a young driver. As we all know, the price of car insurance at the moment is so high compared to the car you'll be buying. You'll probably spend £1,000 on the car and be paying close to £3,000 for the insurance. So I'm going to try and give you some tips to bring that price down so you can afford a better car or put more money into modifying your car. So I'm going to be covering 3 areas. One of them being things to know about car insurance, why the prices are how they are. Another area being things you might already know that brings your price insurance down. And the other one being things you might not know that can bring your car insurance prices down. So here are some things you should just know about insurance in general. So your insurance is basically based off 4 things. Your age, the car you're trying to buy, your location, and the amount of claims that that full group has kind of had as a total. And that's why some cars will be a lot more to insure than others. For instance, Fiesta STs that are currently the Mark 7s that are getting stolen left, right and centre, they're quite high to insure at the moment because they're stolen so often, and obviously young drivers buy them a lot on finance, so it's a group that's quite targeted for a higher insurance. The reason car insurance is so high at the moment is 1 to 6 people that just pass their test crashes their car within the first 6 months. So you can see why car insurance companies are going to be charging so much for first time drivers and younger drivers, because they haven't got the experience, and statistics says they're going to crash that car probably in 6 months. Some of the major things that play a role in how much your insurance would be your postcode. Rougher areas where cars are known to be stolen from, it will naturally be a higher amount to pay. Your job plays a huge role in what you do because you might travel more to and from your job, so there's more chance of you being in an accident. A lot of people think it's better to tell your insurance that you keep your car in a garage when you might not. Now what this is actually doing at the moment is pushing up the prices of the insurance when you say it's kept in a garage, because lots of people are getting caught when they want to claim on their insurance and they haven't got a garage. So now prices for cars being kept on the road or on a private driveway are sometimes even cheaper than keeping it in a garage. Another thing to consider is that a common route for new drivers is to put themselves on a policy with as a named driver instead of the main driver. Now this can actually stop you building up your own no claims bonus, whereas it can be cheaper for the first year's insurance obviously to have, say, your parents on the insurance as the main driver and use the named driver. This can limit you in building your own no claims and will not bring down the next year's insurance because you don't have no claims, and that's one of the biggest factors of having cheaper insurance the next year. A lot of people think as well third-party fire and theft is the cheaper option, but nowadays the fully comprehensive is the same or even cheaper than third-party fire and theft. A few years, like maybe a decade ago, it used to be the way, but it's not so much anymore. Also, always declare your mods. I'm seeing it all the time now on Facebook pages where the police are pulling people over after meets or just generally, and they haven't declared their mods. They've been in contact with their insurance and they haven't told them they've got mods, and technically they're not insured and they're not going to get a payout, or the payout's going to be a lot less if they were to be insured. And obviously there's fines with the police and all sorts if you're not properly insured. So declare your mods. Now onto the obvious things. Now we all know that paying monthly is more expensive than paying yearly, so I'd always recommend paying yearly. If you can borrow the money, borrow the money. If you haven't got the money, sometimes you just have to pay monthly, that's just how it is, but you're going to be looking at like £100 or £200 extra. So yearly is definitely the way to go. Another thing that's quite obvious is boosting your excess. Now the more excess you put on your policy, the less your insurance will be, because that's the amount they kind of won't pay out and you're expected to pay towards a claim. Now I don't really understand excess because you're covered as an insurance anyway and you're paying a lot towards it, but it's something that's on every policy. So if you put your excess up from say 250 to 500, then your total insurance might not be as much. Another thing, it's a boring one, but if you can put a black box on it. I had a black box on my first ever insurance. It's boring, they are quite limiting, but that will bring your insurance down loads. Adding named drivers, another obvious one. Now if you've got a family or you live with people that have been driving a lot longer time with you and they've got a clean license, you can throw them onto your insurance as a named driver. What you want to be careful of is fronting though, and fronting is you saying that you are a named driver on a policy and someone else is the main driver. For instance, your mum's the main driver and you're the named driver on a policy. It's called fronting, and basically it's illegal because you're actually the main driver. If you get caught out of that, it's illegal and you can get done for it. Be careful. Increasing your car security, which is always a good thing. Like I mentioned before, the Mark 7 Fiestas are getting stolen all the time. There are a lot of big companies at the moment that are offering really good security systems, and insurance companies love this because if you've got better security, your chances of your car getting stolen are a lot less likely, and thieves will tend to go for the easier car to steal. So that will bring your policy down. Another thing you can buy is a dash cam, and these are relatively cheap. You get a dash cam in your car, and if you have a crash, you can see who's liable because you've got a camera showing it was either yourself or it was someone else. That will bring your policy down. What I tend to do as well is use a comparison website to get a general quote. Now you can work off this general quote. I wouldn't ever actually go through with the comparison website, but you can work off this quote as kind of like a base quote, and maybe even call that top company that are offering the lowest amount and see if you can get a cheaper deal. You're always going to get a cheaper deal calling, and literally ask on the phone, just being like, oh, it's a good price, but are you able to do a better price? Because I've called elsewhere, they've offered me this. Or you can literally just ask, look, can you do a better price? I got £100 knocked off just because I rung the same company that offered me a deal and asked them. I was just like, can I have an extra X amount off? Is there any deal you've got on? And they were like, well, we can push an extra £100 off. So don't be scared to ask and phone around. What I would say is go to companies direct though. The best prices I've ever got is going straight to a company, ringing them, and they tend to get me the best deals. Another thing as well, do your quotes a month or 2 months early so you're not caught out and having to do it last minute. If you have a month or two to kind of organise yourself, ring around for better quotes, then you'll be able to find better quotes. If you leave it till like the last few days, you're going to have to get insured and it's going to be tight and you might not get the best deal. Now for some not so obvious things, search for Facebook groups or YouTubers that have kind of deals with insurance companies. I know there's a few YouTubers out there at the moment that are working with Adrian Flux that will give you like 10% off your insurance if you just quote their discount code. As well, there was a few Facebook pages. I know the Fiesta ST page, they had a discount code with some insurance companies for a while. And the forums as well, the Fiesta STOC, the Owners Club forum, they had some insurance discounts for a while. I'm not sure if they're still around, but it's definitely worth just looking around and going on these forums, going on Facebook, looking for YouTube for anyone that has insurance, because 10% off, do you know what I mean, £1,000, £2,000 which you're going to be paying is going to be saving you a fair amount of money, especially with the extra tips I've given you. Another thing you can do is, if you are unable to pay yearly and you have to pay monthly, you can get a 0% credit card. Now this, it sounds bad because it's credit cards, etc. But if you're going to pay monthly, this is actually a better route to take, because one, you can build credit, and that works for everything else in your adult life. You're going to be building credit and you're going to be looking better for any type of borrowing. But two, this actually allows you to pay monthly, well, get the pay it monthly still, and still get the price that it would be yearly. So what you do, you get the quote, say it's £1,000 for the quote, you then get a credit card out with 0% APR, 0% interest. So you would then pay on that credit card and then pay the credit card back monthly. The difference being is it would probably be around £1,200 to pay it monthly over the year, and it would be about £1,000 to pay it up front for the year. And the credit card just allows you to pay it up front in the year and pay the credit card back monthly. So that's a little trick to not pay any interest on a credit card and be able to get the yearly price instead of the monthly price. Now another thing you can do is play around with your job title. It doesn't mean lie and say that you work at retail, which is quite cheap compared to say like a railway worker. What you can do though is change your job title, which still revolves in the kind of industry you're in. For instance, I'm a stage lighting technician, and when I put stage lighting technician, the insurance price is bumped up, but I'm actually based in a warehouse. But if I put warehouseman, which technically I'm a warehouseman, the prices go down. So I leave mine as warehouseman instead of stage lighting technician, and it's still technically the same thing, if you know what I mean. I'm not lying, I work in a warehouse, I'm a warehouseman, it's just I'm a stage lighting technician. I think this is because as a warehouseman you're driving to and from the warehouse and that's it, but if they're thinking, oh, he's a full-on stage lighting technician that has to travel to, say, venues or festivals, it's different times, you're going to be driving longer and further, so there's more chance of an accident. So what I'm trying to get at is you are able to play with the job description and it still be your actual job description, but you just have to think about it sometimes and kind of see what works. Put in one, try it, if it doesn't work, put in another, and if it still reflects what you do and it's cheaper, stay with that. One last tip, multi-car policies. Now if you're in a household with more than one car, say you live with your parents or you've got a partner that has more than one car at that household, you can get a policy together and split the difference basically. So say for instance they're paying £400 for their policy and you would pay £1,100 for your policy, but together you can get a policy for around £1,100. You're going to be saving money in the long run, and you could still let them pay their bit, however much it would be, and you could pay the extra. which would still be cheaper for you. I hope this helps some of you lot out. I've seen a lot of people in the comments like not buying the car they want because they're having so much trouble trying to get insured on it. So they're having to settle for, like, say for instance they want the ST and they're having to settle for like the 1.2 Fiesta. Whereas like some of these tips might be able to just get you that next level car at a younger age. Put in the comments below any other tips you've got to make your insurance cheaper as a younger driver. We can kind of make this a community thing again where where if I haven't covered everything, there's people below that have got even more tips and everyone wins. To let you guys know how much I pay on insurance, I pay £600 a year, and that was just 1 year, paid it up front. That's for my Fiesta ST, 3 years no claims bonus, and I was 25 when I bought that. I'm 26 now, but I was 25 when I got the policy. That's also with a flexi drive policy, so I'm covered on anyone else's insurance as long as they're covered, up to £25 fully comp, so I can drive my girlfriend's car, my friend's car, work cars, the lot fully covered. Covers for keys, covers for covers for windshield, covers for windows, cover for, I've got everything, like anything you can get on the policy I've got, and I think my policy excess is £250, which is a pretty good policy. And I mainly paid a little bit extra for the flexi drive policy because my car's a bit juicy and we drive my girlfriend's car a lot of the time. That makes sense. It was like an extra 50 quid a year maybe. Yeah, leave your comments below. If this helped you out, let me know below. Maybe give me a subscribe if you saved a couple £100 quid. And I will catch you next time.